Through the summer, I've put the Vmax VX2 Hub through extensive testing across 200 miles. I've measured the top speed, acceleration, hill climbing, and done 3 real-world range tests at different speeds to see how it actually performs. Now, the VX2 Pro was pretty much a range champion when I tested it last year. I got almost 40 miles on a single charge, which is pretty much unbeatable in its class, but it had one major weakness, which was the lack of suspension. The VX2 Hub looks like it fixes exactly that problem. They've added full dual suspension, an even stronger motor that peaks at 1900 watts, and they also bumped up the battery capacity. It all sounds really good, but it's also more expensive than the Pro, which puts it in a totally different competitive bracket. Let's find out if the VX2 Hub is worth the extra money, and let's also see how it compares to the Ninebot Max G3, which is the flagship commuter from Segway. Just a quick note before we begin: if you want to support my independent testing, consider getting your next scooter through my affiliate links. There's a link for the VX2 Hub along with a discount code in the description. There are also links for other scooters if you decide to go another route. The VX2 Hub packs an incredibly powerful motor that peaks at 1900 watts. Although it's 500 watts nominal, it's a lot stronger than the old VX2 Pro, and it even beats the Ninebot Max G3 in all of my performance tests. I measured a top speed of 33.5 miles per hour, which is just seriously fast for a single motor commuter. For context, the Max G3 only hits 28 miles per hour despite having a higher motor rating on paper, and the VX2 Pro maxed out at 23.9 miles per hour. So we're talking almost 10 miles per hour faster than the predecessor. Also, NIU and Navee don't really have any flagship models that can compete in this class. The acceleration is really strong and feels instant. I measured 0 to 20 miles per hour in 4.76 seconds. This is 1.7 seconds faster than the Max G3 and 3.5 seconds faster than the NIU KQi 300X. My only complaint here is that you can't customize the acceleration strength beyond switching between speed modes, but the throttle is very modular, so it's pretty easy to accelerate slower if you prefer. Now, this scooter really proves itself on hills as well. It completed my standard hill test in just 10 seconds, holding an average speed of 17 miles per hour on an 8% grade. Also tested it on a really steep 17% incline where it averaged 15 miles per hour, which is just really solid. It's better than a lot of dual mode options I've tested. Also, the torque just feels incredibly strong, so even if you are a heavier rider, you're not gonna struggle on inclines with the VX2 Hub. The scooter just has the performance overhead to push through pretty much every type of hill. The VX2 Hub comes in 2 battery versions. I tested the high capacity version, but I also calculated the estimated range for the smaller battery using the results from my tests. Going full throttle the entire time, I got 29.9 miles of range. In my regular mixed riding tests, which is probably the most relevant for most daily commuting, I got 35.6 miles of range. And when I really babied the scooter to maximize range, I managed 40.1 miles. Now, this thing is way ahead on range compared to the Max G3 or the 300X, but quite interestingly, the VX2 Pro GT just about edged out the Hub on range, and that just comes down to it being lighter and having a less aggressive motor that just draws less power. Now, even with the smaller battery, you'll still get about 25 miles of real-world range, which still matches the competition while delivering way more motor performance. For most commuters, 25 miles is enough, but if you really need that extra range, the 18 amp-hours version has got you covered. The ride quality is the best I've seen from Vmax. You've got hydraulic suspension at the front and rubber suspension at the rear, which creates a really smooth and plush ride. I found that the suspension engages gradually without that initial resistance you get on cheaper forks. Also, the rubber at the rear gets tighter the deeper it's engaged, which means you won't be bottoming out. If the Ninebot Max G3 was considered a 10 out of 10, this would be a 9 out of 10. It's notably more comfortable than the NIU 300X or the Navee ST3 Pro, and also the Ninebot Max G2 for that matter. The suspension feels really nicely tuned. The 10-inch tubeless tires are excellent too. They stay grippy even on wet surfaces, and also maintain pressure really well throughout testing. My only wish is that they came pre-sealed with anti-puncture solution like some competitors do, but in any case that's a really cheap 5-minute DIY job. The scooter feels rock solid stable at speed too. It doesn't feel sketchy or wobbly or anything, which is just really important when you go more than 30 miles per hour. For braking, Vmax went with a front disc and a rear drum, along with regen braking. I measured a stopping distance of 11.4 feet, which is totally safe for this speed class. The regen feels smooth and progressive. It's not grabby like cheaper systems where it kind of jerks you forward. Also, the cockpit is really well designed. You've got a really light display, it's large and it's bright, and it's super easy to read in direct sunlight, which is honestly pretty rare in electric scooters. Also, unlike Segway or Niu, you're not forced to use their smartphone app to customize settings. You can actually do that on the display, which is a huge plus. The handlebars are wide without being excessive, the throttle response is smooth and gradual, and the deck is really spacious with a large rear footrest. The deck to handlebar height is just around 40 inches, so this is definitely tall rider approved. You've got turn signals at the handlebar ends and on the sides of the footrest. The headlight also provides good visibility, and having those side lights adds an extra safety element that most scooters just completely skip. All in all, the ride quality is really nice. It feels super refined, and it's definitely geared for rough road conditions and wet roads as well. The two versions weigh 57.1 pounds and 54.9 pounds respectively, so this isn't the most portable scooter you can find, but is honestly fairly manageable, and you're just not gonna find a lightweight electric scooter with this type of power and range. It simply doesn't exist. For context, the Max G3 comes in at 54.2 pounds, so the difference is barely worth mentioning in practice. They feel pretty much the same to carry around. The folding mechanism is really smooth. It's easy to unlock without using a lot of force. There's also a safety pin, and the weight distribution when folded is nearly on the center, which makes it pretty easy to maneuver. I'm 175 pounds, and I've found this scooter perfectly manageable to carry for short distances. But if you live on the 4th floor with no elevator, any flagship scooter like this is gonna be tough. This isn't really the scooter you'd want to haul on public transport, but that's not what it's designed for anyway. This is a long distance commuter, not a last mile commuter. The extra weight is justified in my opinion. You're getting full suspension, a really large battery, and a way stronger motor. If portability is your absolute top priority, you're just gonna have to compromise big on performance to get something like the Apollo Go or the NIU KQi Air instead. As I mentioned earlier, I've been testing this scooter for around 200 miles, and I always ride rough to see how it holds up. In short, the VX2 Hub feels like it's built to last. It's heavy duty and just feels like a proper machine throughout. The frame feels really sturdy, the welds look clean, and the stem tube isn't too thin. I've stressed and pulled on various parts of the frame and experienced no flex, no creaking, or nothing concerning whatsoever. I also simulated some wear and tear by using the folding mechanism 200 times and flipping the kickstand 500 times. Both held up fine without developing any play or looseness. The fenders are also really sturdy with multiple mounting points. There's no rattling or rubbing against the tires whatsoever. Now, if you've got a rainy commute ahead, the IPX6 rating is a real highlight. I often get caught in the rain, and the VX2 Hub handles it perfectly fine. There's no doubt that this is an all-weather commuter. Now moving on to the smartphone app. It's honestly basic at best, and that's actually kind of refreshing. A lot of the new gen scooters will force you to use an app to change basically every single setting and only have the speed modes on the display. Vmax have gone another route. Now the app exists if you want it, but you don't need it at all. You can customize a few settings on the display itself, so you don't have to deal with Bluetooth issues. I do feel the customization is still a bit limited though. For instance, you can't adjust the acceleration, and it would also be nice to be able to set a battery charge limit for longevity. But still, the basics are covered. This is just a scooter you can count on. It's robust, and they've made smart decisions throughout the design process. All in all, the Vmax VX2 Hub is an incredibly capable commuter that gets my full recommendation. It goes further and faster than the competition and feels incredibly well engineered throughout. Compared to the Segway Ninebot Max G3, which is kind of the same price, the VX2 Hub is faster, climbs better, has longer range, and doesn't force you to use an app. Against the NIU 300X, it's just a different league with way more power and full suspension. And compared to the VX2 Pro GT, you're sacrificing a tiny bit of range and portability, but gaining so much more in comfort and performance. So who's this scooter for? Well, if you want flagship performance without compromising on comfort, this is it. If you've got steep hills or need an all-weather commuter with 25 plus miles of range, the VX2 Hub just delivers. It's also really nice for taller and heavier riders because it's got a lot of performance overhead. The only case in which I would say you should skip the scooter is if you want maximum portability or you're on a really tight budget. It's not the cheapest model out there, but large batteries are expensive. If you only ride short distances, you may also be paying for capabilities you won't really use. It's still a fun ride though. Overall, this is just a really solid choice if you want a high performance commuter that can handle pretty much anything you throw at it. If you're interested in the VX2 Hub, buying through my affiliate link in the description supports the channel at no extra cost to you. Also check out my free tools over on ERideHero.com. I've got a massive scooter database where you can compare over 350 models to find the perfect ride for you. You can also register for a free account to get the best electric scooter deals every single week, and even set up price alerts for your favorite models. It's completely free to use. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.